way. I think it did. Yay! I was just about, and it still says live, so I was just about ready to shut it down, but it looks like we're going to be okay. Hey everybody, it's Kelly Coates Gilbert, and I am broadcasting live tonight on She's Reading from Dallas, Texas, and I have a dear friend with us tonight, Jean Oram. Jean and I met at a writers' conference in Florida, gosh, 4, 5, 6 years ago. And we just immediately hit it off. First of all, we write very similarly, but she's just the kind of author that I love. And that is someone who takes all the knocks, because this is a kind of a tough business at times, but she takes all the knocks and she keeps smiling and she keeps doing her very best. And her readers love her. She is a party on legs.
Wow.
Fact, I have seen her dance on occasion, and in the author community, she's well known for her TikToks. For anyone who's on that social media platform, oh my goodness, she is so fun. So Jean, welcome tonight. I'm so pleased to introduce you to everybody.
Thank you. That is the best introduction I have ever had in my whole entire life.
A party on legs, yeah.
Party on legs.
Let me tell you a little bit more professionally. And that is, and some of this I didn't know until I looked on her website today. I did not know, here's my notes. I did not know, but my good friend Jean Oram is a New York Times and USA Today bestselling author. She writes heartwarming, good feel romances. She lives in Canada. I did know that. And her readers have wonderful things to say about her books. Things like they keep the pages turning, and I love these characters. And here's one, can't wait for the next in the series. And that's the kind of thing that Jean creates, this reading frenzy. So I'm anxious, Jean, to learn. Tell us about how you came to write. I always ask, first off, just tell us a little bit about how you came to write and what you write. Just introduce us to your author world.
Okay, thank you. Oh boy, where to start? I'm not one of those people who always wanted to write like as a kid and stuff. I journaled and things like that. And so when I did start writing, and I kept it secret for a few years. And when I told my mom, she's like, oh, I'm not surprised. You were always writing when you were a kid. And I'm like, I wasn't writing, but I was writing other things, I guess. So it didn't come as a surprise to her. But I was actually, I was in my 30s, and it was one summer I was home. I was a high school librarian, and I was deep in a chick lit phase. Oh my gosh, like Bridget Jones's Diary. Oh, I love that book so much. And I was like, these books are so good and so funny. And I was like, oh, I want to write one. And I was giggling. I was literally giggling, and I sat down at the computer and I'm like, I'm going to write a book. And my husband's like, okay. And I'm like, oh. And I'm like, I didn't even know how. I thought they were like 15,000 words long. Well, it turns out a novel back then was usually about 75,000 words. So when I reached 15,000 words, I'm like, oh, I have so much more to say. And then I finally went and I looked up online, how long a novel should be and things like that. And I was like, oh, they're like 70,000 words. This is perfect because I have so much more I have to say. So I just kept writing and blundering my way along. And it was just so much fun. And then eventually I met some friends online, and she's like, well, you need to publish these. And I'm like, oh, they're not ready for publishing. This is just so much fun. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. And so eventually we became critique partners, and she helped me, and I figured it out. And she decided to go the independent route, where you do all of the work yourself and publish your book onto stores instead of going through a traditional publishing house and a literary agent and whatnot. We both did actually go and get literary agents, but then we ended up writing nonfiction for some reason. Selling that to the agents, and then we ended up writing our romances and publishing those independently. But she just kind of gave me a push and told me to jump in. And at the time, my mom was sick, and I was like, okay, well, I want her to see that I've published a book. So I didn't feel fully ready, but I was like, I'm just going to do it. And I have the original book with the original cover that my friend made for me. She knew if she made me a cover, I would have to publish it. It's called Champagne and Lemon Drops. It's showing backwards on my screen. I don't know if it is.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
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 So, and then the rest is history. We're like 30 books deep and I'm still loving it.
And you have hundreds of readers.
Oh, and they're the best.
A little while, well, thousands of readers, but a little while later, Jean is going to tell you about a big promotion that we're doing together and a little giveaway opportunity. So stay tuned for that. Tell us a little bit about the books you write. What genre did you choose? I know it's romance. Your website said heartwarming, feel-good romances, but in the big romance world, what sets you and your books apart?
All of my books are small town romances. So if you think of like Hallmark movies, romantic comedies, that is sort of what I've put in print. So boy meets girl, fall in love, maybe have some bumps along the way, but they always end happily. I try to make readers laugh and cry all in the same story.
Yeah. And I saw a lot of reviews that mentioned your characters. What do you do to develop your characters? For example, I start with a picture. I always start with a picture.
Really?
How do you?
I never know what they look like. Never. Like eventually, it's like sometimes I'll even get to the editor and the editor is like, because my editor will, she looks for typos and problems with the story and marks up the whole document, thousands of things and sends them back to me, comma,
You love those edits.
Yes, that's the worst part of writing. And yeah, she'll sometimes be like, so what does this character look like? You haven't described them at all. So for me, it's very much inside. I feel like I know them inside more than outside. Yeah. And usually a character will come to me, it'll be something odd, like it'll be maybe even just something mentioned on the radio, and it'll spark an idea of like, oh, well, what if? And I'll usually kind of know the hero and the heroine and how they meet and kind of how they're going to kind of butt heads or how they're going to make each other's lives better. And it just sort of kind of it builds from there. Yeah. But mostly.
I also saw a lot of reader comments that said that beyond just the romance, your characters really do carry some life with them, and that there is a lot of internal conflict in your characters.
Definitely. They are usually trying to pursue some sort of dream at the same time that they find true love. And so I like to think about like falling in love is sort of transformative in a way. Like if it's the right person, it can change your life. It can make you a better person in so many ways. And yeah, and I try to kind of build that into the story, showing like that power of true love and how that's sort of the missing piece in these people's lives and how it helps them reach what they haven't been able to reach up until that point.
Yeah. Of all your characters, because you've written quite a few books, yeah, which character is your personal favorite?
I think probably I'm going to say Jackie from the Cowboys Surprise Return. And that could be just because that's the last book that I wrote, that I published. But I wrote her, I think that's a 5-book series. So that's the 5th book in the Cowboys of Sweetheart Creek, that series. And so from book 1, she's sort of the matchmaker who can't find love, and she's bubbly and upbeat and always helping other people and there for them, but she's not finding love. And she's got this secret crush for this guy who has left town, and she doesn't know if she's ever even going to see him again. Wow. And so Cowboy Surprise Return, spoiler alert, guess what happened? But I really enjoyed writing her. She was one of my favorites. And then finally being able to give her a happily ever after in the 5th book was good.
Yeah, that feels good. It feels good as a reader to get those happily ever afters. Here's a question that I love to ask. What is the one character of all your characters that your readers love to hate?
I listened to some of your old interviews and I'm like, if she asked me that, I better be prepared. And I thought about it. I had to take the cat to the vet today and I thought about it the whole drive there. So that they love to hate. And I thought, well, originally it was Beth and Mandy. Those were my first two books, Whiskey and Gumdrops and Champagne and Lemon Drops, because they were rivals and they both wanted the same man. And of course, they both got their own happily ever afters. And it worked out the way it was supposed to work out. But readers who read Champagne and Lemon Drops first, they did not like Mandy at all. And she was the other woman that, you know, it's like, oh, she's coming in and she's looking good.
Yeah.
He's gonna run away with her. But in the more recent series, I would say it would be the great uncle Henry, because he's just a curmudgeon. Nothing will make him smile, and he's always got his little personal rain cloud to bring and rain on everybody's parade. So
I have to thank you for the one character that I have that my readers love to hate. You guys, Jean and I are friends, and you know, we're in a couple of writing groups and things, and we were, you know, she just before she moved, she had a neighbor, one of those neighbors, and she would tell us stories, and I finally clued in and went, that has got to go in a book. And so I didn't create your neighbor, but I certainly used that as an impetus and created a really pickle of a neighbor. And my readers. So thank you, Jean.
You're very welcome. I'm glad that my pain could serve you so well.
Through some pain too. Oh, girls. Look, there's the story she told us. I couldn't believe it. And you know, typical Jean, she stayed sweet and nice most of the time.
Well, my parting words to that neighbor were not sweet and nice.
Oh, well, you know, he told us he kind of deserved it. So
yeah. But yeah, if we told stories about that neighbor, nobody would believe it. They would think that we were telling tall tales.
Yeah. Holy moly. Yes, sir. Okay. So we kind of talked about characters. What do you find is the most challenging thing about your entire publishing business, including writing the books, but also you've indicated you're an independent publisher, which readers, that means that you take a lot on everything, the covers, the marketing, the sales, everything. What do you personally find the most challenging?
I would say consistency, because I like to just dive into a book and get lost in it. And then that's it. That's all I do all day for weeks. And then I'm like, oh, I haven't posted my reader group for a while, or, oh, I need to send a newsletter and let my readers know I'm still alive. And so just
that's
maintaining the consistency in all the different areas. Like I also make a lot of my own covers. And so at the moment
covers.
I have like 10 covers I need to make. And so I find it hard sometimes, just making sure that I'm balancing all of the things and not letting all the balls, letting a ball drop kind of thing.
It is a juggling.
It is. And one of the reasons that I enjoy this career so much, besides being able to share stories with readers and making them laugh and cry and things like that, because I think that's just amazing. And I'm so honored, and it's such a privilege to be able to do that and have people pick up my books and read them. And that's still, it's like, wow. But one of the main reasons I started writing was because it was something I could do when the kids were at home, before they started school. And my husband's a teacher, so he gets summers off, and I used to be a high school librarian, so I also got summers off. Yeah. And I thought about changing careers, and I was like, well, I'm not going to have the same hours off as my family. And because I started working in the public libraries, and they were like, well, like in the summer program, I'm like, wait, what? No, I get summers off. And so that's one of the things that I really enjoy is being able to be flexible like that. And I think that also makes it a little hard to be consistent sometimes, because I will take time off, but I also have learned that I do need that time off in order to refill my creative well. Otherwise, I just kind of burn out, and then I don't want to do anything, and then that's no good either.
Yeah, because I mean, for every book that ends up on a shelf, that represents hours and hours and hours of not only writing time, but editing time and marketing time. And just, there's just so much to it. What, on the converse, that's your biggest challenge. What is your greatest joy? What is the one thing that you just, just jazzes you?
Oh gosh, there's so many. I love getting an email from a reader when they say that, I'm gonna get all teary-eyed. Oh, Kelly, I knew you were gonna make me cry.
Well, I know what you're talking about, because
Yeah.
that connection with the readers is something so special. It's a relationship that you can't duplicate anywhere else.
Yeah.
And it doesn't surprise me, because I've read your reviews. I know your readers absolutely adore you and your books.
Thank you. And I adore them.
It's no wonder you're getting a little teary-eyed.
Yeah. Well, just when they say that a book, helped them through a tough time or chemo, and it's like, oh.
Yeah.
And
Or they're sitting bedside by their husband in the hospital, and but they have a little laugh because they're immersed in a story that lets them escape for a moment.
Exactly.
And if you go to Jean's website, which is jeanoram.com, ORAM, you'll see her covers are bright and pretty, and they've got lots of pink, and they just look like her, and they also look like her stories. She's branded very well, and I really encourage all of you, if you've not tried Jean Oram's books, please go try one. I really, really encourage you to do that, because they're great escape books, and they're filled with love and happiness and happily ever afters. I love them.
Well, thank you. Now I'm like, oh no, what if I don't live up to that glowing review?
I've read your books. You read up to it. Tell us, are you a pantser or a plotter?
Oh, yes, I am a bit of both.
Oh.
Yes. So actually, I've got, like right now, I have a book I'm writing, and I've got piles of notes and ideas on where the story should go. But when I start, sometimes I don't know anything other than one scene that's going to happen between the hero and heroine. And I'm just like, oh yes, I have to write this scene. And then I build the book around that scene sometimes.
You don't always start at the beginning. Sometimes you start.
Yeah. But it's usually when they meet is usually the scene that comes to mind. So that's usually pretty close to the beginning of the book. But yeah, sometimes I'll start with that, and then I build the book out from there. Sure. Sometimes I kind of know like what their journey is going to be, and then but I usually don't know the middle. That's the hardest part for me. Yeah.
I read a book one time by one of my writing mentors. I just adore James Scott Bell. And in it, he said that if you watch every story, every movie, every sitcom, every book, novel, there is a place right in the middle called the moment in the mirror, where they sit and they take a look at their life, what has been and what could be, and they make a decision to stay or go. And so I love that, because I don't think I'd ever really realized that. But every time I watch movies, read a book, anything, I go, yep, there it is. There's the mirror, and it just kind of comes naturally. It's a point somewhere in the middle right there where a character, readjusts and moves forward. So that's interesting. Tell me what you do to celebrate your successes.
You know what? I am not very good at that. I am a big list. I know. I'm a big list maker. So I cross something off and I'm like, the book published. I'm like, okay, on to the next book. So I've been making a point the last year, well, maybe 6 months or so, to celebrate those things. Like when I sent my last book to the editor, I texted my husband and I'm like, send the book to the editor, it's cake time. And he brought home cake. I was like, this is awesome.
Well, that's how I celebrate.
Yeah.
I love flowers. And so I send myself flowers. My publishing company sends me flowers.
There's not much left of those ones.
Yeah, you go, girl. You go, girl. Okay, well, I've got a lot of great questions here, so let me ask some more of them. Tell me what you do for fun.
Oh, all right. Well, assuming the world is normal, I like to travel and camp and hike and watch movies and of course read. Um,
And you're a big outdoors girl.
I am, yeah, and I love adventures. One of the coolest things that I've done with the money that that I generate from writing was I bought a secondhand truck and then a secondhand holiday trailer. It took me a couple of years. It's not like I was just like, eh. But those are some of the things that I'm pretty proud of, that finally, after years of being a stay-at-home mom, I could contribute in some way to the family. And then because my husband has summers off and I have a flexible schedule, I was like, we are driving across Canada. So we took the summer and we went across Canada and we just went wherever our hearts desired. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. You know, that especially is hits me in the heart, because I started my writing career contributing to Motorhome magazine, and we've owned 11 motorhomes, and you know, I get the travel bug. I really, flying's okay, but I would much rather get in my motorhome and take off. The road trips are just fun. So when you talk about that, I start going, yeah, that'd be fun. So you took the whole family and did that?
Yep.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. And the dog.
That is fun. That is fun. So here's another question I like to ask. Which do you prefer to write, the first chapter or the last chapter?
The first chapter in some ways, because it's exciting and new, but I also rewrite the first chapter like 10 to 15 times. Wow. But I like the last chapter probably the best because I usually only write that one once. It's the fastest chapter in the whole book to write, and it's just down, and then I maybe tweak it and it's off to the editor. Whereas that first chapter, oh my gosh, I beat that with a stick.
Yeah, because you know, the first chapter has to be right, or else the whole book kind of cripples along, you know. So I understand that. When you chose to write romance, were there any other genres you considered, or are there any other genres you are considering? Or are you a steadfast romance girl?
Well, and that it surprised me that I wanted to write romance novels. It really did. But I love it. I have considered writing some sort of more book club type books, if you know what I mean. But I always come back to the romance. Like I have ideas for other books, but these are the ones I write.
Yeah. You know, and I think when our heart's drawn to that, it shows in our writing. I mean, you just really love what you're doing, and it pops up on the page, and then your readers love it as well. So let's see, we did those. Okay, here's a good one. What would you say is your most interesting writing quirk? Like, do you have any, do you have to have like a bowl of chips by the side of your computer? What is it?
That's a great question. One of the it's maybe, well, yeah, I think my husband would call it a quirk. When I get when I'm just about done a book, and being done meaning that this is like the last draft before it goes to the editor. And I'm fully immersed, because if I only do it in pieces, like piece here, piece there over a week, I lose the thread, and I can't remember if I'm repeating myself and things like that, because I can't remember, because it's also spread out, and I was working on the book before that. So it's like, yeah, I've mentioned that, but I mentioned it in this section, or so that probably makes no sense outside of my head, but
I understand. Yeah.
Okay. And so I get fully immersed, and then at the very end, I do a read through where I try and go through the whole book on an e-reader in 1 or 2 days, preferably one.
So do you cook for the family, or do you say you guys are on your own?
I do cook, because here's the quirky part, is I don't notice things and I haven't really realized that I don't notice things until I come out of my editing writing cave and I look around and I'm like, where did all of these dishes come from? So I am cooking and we are eating, but I'm definitely not cleaning up, and I don't.
Your mind's in those stories. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although, like my husband now, if I cook, he does the dishes, so it's not as bad. But there were a few years there where he was coaching and whatnot, and I'm editing, and I come out and I'd be like, oh my gosh, the house is a complete disaster.
One of the things we haven't done yet is I really want you to tell our readers about your series. Tell them the premise of the series and which series they might want to, because they're going to want to go out and grab a book tonight, and I want them to know which series they might want to start with.
For sure. Okay. So the Blueberry Springs series are, yeah, they were fun to write. They are just the heroine's point of view, and they are light and funny, and a lot of best friend romances, that sort of thing. There might be a holiday trailer falling off a cliff that belonged to an ex, in the series somewhere. Oh, I love writing that scene. That was
How did I miss that one? Oh my gosh, that sounds wonderful.
That one's vodka and chocolate drops, and it happens right at the beginning.
Okay.
And there may or may not be an explosion.
I think that's on my reader. I may have to nestle in tonight because that sounds pretty fun.
It was fun to write. And then the Summer Sisters series, this one's Falling for the Boss, part of that series. These ones are set in Canada, and they're kind of near and dear to my heart because I based them off of a summer cottage that my grandma owned in Muskoka, which is cottage country in Canada. And I used to spend summers there with her. And so I based the series in that area, and 4 sisters and then an honorary sister, so 5-book series, and they all fall in love that summer, and they're trying to save the cottage, and more small town
family. Yeah. Hold that cover up again, because remember, she does her own covers. I mean, aren't those beautiful? Now, I mean, I can't, there's no way I could do that, but Jean makes her own covers.
Thank you. I didn't do that one though. I hired that one out.
Okay.
Just to, gotta be honest here. And then this is, I did make this one. This is A Pinch of Commitment, and this is the Veils and Vows series. And it is based in Blueberry Springs. So you see some of those characters come back, but this one does have both the guy and the girl's point of view, and their marriage of convenience romances, which I love. Like there's like secret marriages, and of course in a small town, so complicated. How do you keep a marriage a secret? Have a fake engagement between exes and without the town getting in there and messing things up? Yeah, you can plan as much as you want in a small town, but when the people there have ideas, like look out. So
Gilmore Girl fans line up for Jean's books.
Yes, I love the Gilmore Girls.
And your books remind me of Gilmore Girls.
I only just recently discovered the Gilmore Girls, and I am so hooked.
Me too.
I know. How did I miss it for 20 years? I don't know.
No.
And then the Veils and Vows series are small town. I didn't make these ones. Najla made these ones as well. But
which ones are in Texas now?
You have that one. This one is tied to the Sweetheart Creek ones. These are the Texas ones, and I did make that cover. But yeah,
your readers are loving those Texas books.
Yes,
Cowboys.
Yeah, they've been really awesome about these ones, and I had so much fun writing the characters. Like there's an armadillo named Bill who's this cranky armadillo who's taken over the town and scaring people and stealing their groceries and things like that. So the Cowboys are brothers series. There's a little bit of football in there, there's the librarian. First time I've written a librarian, used to be one. And I guess that's
so now tell them where they can connect with you. Tell them your website and some of the other places where you are hanging out, including TikTok.
Well, you can find my website, jeanoram.com. So that's JeanOram. And yeah, I have a newsletter there where I'm giving away a free book called The Promise, which is a prequel in the Veils and Vows Marriage of Convenience stories.
Free book.
Yeah, and you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, here on Facebook, and TikTok. Just search for Jean Oram or Jean Oram author, and I should pop right up, nice and easy. And my books are available Amazon, Kobo, Apple, Google, Barnes and Noble, all over.
Libraries.
Yeah, libraries, ebooks, some audiobooks, paperbacks, and I've been working on large print, so you might find some large print as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And you're on BookBub and Goodreads and all those. And
Yep.
are there links to all those social media sites from your website?
Yes, they sure are. And I love Goodreads. I'm doing the Goodreads challenge. I'm trying to read, I think, 43 books this year.
My, well,
Yeah.
I know a lot of She's Reading girls are on Goodreads.
Oh yeah, they can
and that's
totally
amazing.
come on over and friend me. I love seeing
Yeah.
the timeline when everybody's reading, and yeah.
Now tell them about your readers group, because you have one of the most amazing readers groups I know. And pay attention, because this is a little bit of a teaser about what's coming.
All right, well, I have a reader group called the Jeansters, and that's here on Facebook. And yeah, everyone is welcome. We do silly games and talk about books, and I share pictures
It's
of
a
my
party
dog.
going on. I can just tell you right there. It's a party.
Party on legs, I believe. No, I'm just
Yep, on social media.
yeah.
So drum roll. Now tell them about this promo we've got going, because I couldn't wait for you guys to hear about this.
Yes. So I don't know if everybody's heard of something called Galentine's Day. It's basically a gal pal day on February 13th, so the day before Valentine's Day. And basically it's just celebrating your gal pals. And so my gal pal, Kelly, and I, we are doing a little something special for our readers and their gal pals. So we're in her group here, and she's reading, and then in my group, the Jeansters, we're each holding a giveaway. So you can enter twice. You can enter in mine and in hers. That's totally fine. And we are giving away some awesome, delicious prizes. So I will let you know what I'm giving away, and Kelly will let you know what she's giving away. So I'm giving away 2 copies of Sweet Matchmaker. So this is about well, it's a beach romance, small town, about a gal. She's a matchmaker. She owns a wedding business, can't seem to find love, falls in love with this Aussie who needs a marriage of convenience. And turns out he's a spy. So yeah. And
No,
my son wanted more explosions in my books. He doesn't read my books. He's 10, but at the time he was about 5, and he's like, you need more explosions in your books, Mom. And so there's an explosion in there. So if you read it, that's what it's for. And then I also found these today, these little chocolate buddies.
I love them. I love them. And chocolate.
Yes. So if you win, you get 2 books and 2 chocolates, one for you and one for your gal pal. So you can enter in my group, and you can enter in Kelly's group. And then Kelly is also giving away some prizes as well.
Yes, and let me grab something real quick.
Okay. So our giveaways are already posted and open. You can find them in our groups. And we will select winners at the very end of the day, the 13th, which will probably end up being the 14th, the morning of the 14th, we'll select the winner. So you've got a little bit of time to get in there and enter. Over to you.
I'm giving away a copy of the brand new release in the Maui series. And by the way, the first book is up for free for a very limited time. So you can go over and grab the first book, Under the Maui Sky. And then I'm going to be offering Tides of Paradise and one of these cute Nani purses, which are they're little zipper bags. They're from Hawaii. I fell in love with them, but they're really fun to put your makeup in, or pens, or, just cute little things. So someone's going to win the book, an ebook of Tides of Paradise and the little purse. So for one for you and then one for your gal pal. So 2. Yeah. That'll be fun. So again, you comment here and she's reading, and we're going to count anything that's commented on this video. And I did a post a little earlier today, so you can post here or there, and all those names will go into the drawing. And then you hop over to Jeansters and you join her group, and then you comment there, and then we'll pick those winners and announce them. And when do we announce them?
Well, the end of the 13th, so it'll actually be like the 14th, the morning.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Just because of time zones, we want to make sure everybody gets a chance.
That's right.
To the end of the 13th.
And plus, I know you guys are going to have some questions of Jean, so feel free to just put in the comments any questions you have, and she's going to go in after we're done. Unfortunately, when we do Zoom live streaming, we can't see the comments as we're talking, but we'll both go back in there and take a peek. But before we go, I have what I call my rocket fire questions, and I want to rocket fire those questions to you. So it's just quickly answer this: chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
Pie or cake?
What kind of pie? If it's pumpkin pie, pie. If it's blueberry pie, then cake. Blueberry pie is
okay, then this is going to get complicated too. Beer or wine?
Sorry, which your wine?
Beer or wine?
Wine.
Okay, all right. Stilettos or flip-flops?
Oh, flip-flops.
Dawn or sunset?
Sunset.
Swimming or walking?
Ooh. Walking.
Okay. Oh, here's another hard one. Beach or mountains?
Ooh, that is a hard one.
No.
Oh, you got me right in the heart. No, I used to live in the mountains in Banff as a ski instructor, and I love the mountains, but the beach is amazing too. Beach, because the weather's better.
And just a little secret, we took a little retreat, Jean and I and a couple of friends, over to Cannon Beach in Oregon a couple of years ago. And oh, did we have fun. And walking on the beach, and
that was wonderful.
Clam chowder, and that was
I want to go back.
fun.
Can we go now?
Go away, COVID. Okay, cooking or takeout?
Takeout.
Okay. Campground or resort?
Campground.
And the last one, flowers or massage?
Oh,
No.
flowers.
Flowers. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, friends, you have met my friend, my gal pal, Jean Oram. And it was such a treat to get to bring her here. In fact, I was talking to her. I hardly remember you all are here watching because, well, that's what we do. We just chat. But anyway, I really, really encourage you to go over and check out her books. Sign up for her newsletter, get that free book, check her out. And when you do, tell her Kelly sent you.
Yeah.
So anyway, and don't forget that contest. Go in and comment so that you're included in the opportunity to win prizes for not only you, but your gal pal. And thanks for being here, Jean.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Hugs. And we'll see you soon. Good night, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Good night. Thank you.